You.
Yep. Just take a break.
Yeah. Was the internet shitty for you too? I don't know.
couldn't connect to the internet ever since like last Friday or Thursday.
Okay. Got all shitty all of a sudden, so
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on.
yeah.
Yeah, it's internet. Oh, do you mind if I put your jacket over here?
Oh, here, just like throw them to me.
Oh, okay.
You can pass me the towel too and get that out of the way.
This too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. Let's just leave these here.
I'm sorry.
You
I'm
good?
just nosy.
Oh no, it's okay. It's
Tension, out of stock. Oh no.
what?
11th gen out of stock.
Yeah, someone wants. I'm holding that. Yeah, no, it's just someone's that laptop that I mentioned from before.
Oh,
I was just kind of.
gotcha. Oh, are these good?
I mean, I like them.
Can I
Feel
try
free to have some. Yeah, I don't know how much left is, how much there's left in there, but yeah.
Just wanna try.
Yeah, I think this is enough info. I unfortunately don't actually have an answer for them, so.
I'm kind of hungry. I just ate though. What the fuck?
Sorry, what you're kind of hungry?
I just ate.
Or you just ate? Oh, okay, okay,
I
that's
brought
good.
spaghetti.
Oh, right, you mentioned, yeah. It's not like super spicy, right? It's just like a little, yeah.
I can handle a lot of spice.
Yeah, no, that's Japanese levels of spiciness. So,
Whenever
you know.
I try basil, I get the hottest level.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
No, I get like medium, and
I
that's
haven't been
enough
in
for
a
me.
while, though. Oh shit, that sounds so good.
What?
Spicy food.
Yeah, spicy good food's good for hot days. I feel. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but.
Wait, what? Were you there
Hmm?
when we were talking about like you should eat spicy food to sweat all the sweat and then
Oh, it might have been. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
But, okay.
Cool. Yeah, Sue. Hmm? Where did my post go? Gauss rifle, nice. Yeah. Yeah. Monashi, welcome back. I was taking a break by what do you call it? Respond or typing something up on Reddit, but whatever. Yeah. All right, I'm going back to work. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, just more studying, more studying. I actually didn't turn in the homework from last Friday, because I was like, wait, I'm actually only just like a lecture behind from it, so I could just focus on catching up to the lecture and then actually, have something, you know, like actually like understand what the heck I'm trying to solve. Yeah, how's it going? Laundry sounds good. Does your laundry machine also um sing German songs to you when it's done? Actually, yes. Do you have a Samsung one as well? Sorry, what is Whirlpool? Oh. That's funny. Um, I typed in Whirlpool washing machine sound, and let's see. What the autofill was. Whirlpool washing machine sounds like jet engine. That was the autofill for the word. After you put in Whirlpool washing machine sound. I was just curious what sound or what audio, what song it was. But anyway. like in a daze. I mean, today was also kind of hot, wasn't it? So I'm not sure how he does this cross product here. Well, actually, wait, let me just try to do this cross product real quick. So it's ki cross e, where ki is, ki is cosine theta I z hat plus sine theta I, x hat plus 0 y hat. That too, so this is different. And then cross e I vector. And did we ever say what ei should be? I don't think we did. Or no, we literally just defined it up here. ei. Okay, yeah. So ei we have in as a general form, this up here. And we know we also defined e sub I2, the unit vector lowercase e sub I2 as y hat, and then e sub I1 as cosine theta I x hat minus sine theta I z hat. Actually, wait, does that? Yeah. I think it's fine to take a break, though, every once in a while. Are there cosine theta squareds? No, there aren't. He just leaves it in terms of E naught. Oh, no, sorry. I see what he's doing now. Okay. So really what I should do to keep this generalized and not specific to our problem is I should just do ki cross e sub I, and then e sub I can put in e naught 1 e sub I 1 vector plus e naught 2 e sub I 2 vector e to the I ki dot x hat minus omega t. And then if we just draw the right hand system that depicts the ki and the ei vectors, then we get e sub I1 hat and then e sub I2 hat. Sorry, so we write it in this generalized form, and then we say because ki ei1 hat and ei2 hat form this, or a right hand system. Let me just draw it here. Then we can kind of geometrically determine what it should be. So ki cross ei1. So ki1 means that the first term is ei2 hat, and then ki1 cross so this and then this way is a negative ei1 hat vector. So therefore the terms are 1 over omega and then e naught 1, the e naught 1 magnitude component minus, and then I guess let's do plus and then parentheses, or plus and then e naught 2. There we go. Yeah, sorry, I had to, linear algebra still confuses me. Anyway, yeah, e to the I ki dot x hat minus omega t. There we go. And that's why they end up with this stuff. And then you can also write that as n1 over c, I think. Ooh, shit. 危ね。 I need to get a chair that doesn't seem like I'm gonna fall out of it whenever I stretch. Ranny, welcome back. I'm just studying, so I mean, you know. Serial, welcome back. No, he was just talking about why we can necessarily say that in this sample problem that there's no free surface current or charge, or rather, why we can say that there's no free surface current or charge, current or charge on the surface, but it is possible, and there probably is, a surface current or charge on the surface. And he's just talking about how you can kind of infer that from the fact that if you have a electromagnetic wave hitting a surface, then you would expect, at least at that surface, then that there is an oscillating electromagnetic field, or at least, on when you just just restricting yourself to the boundary there. So thus, any molecules, any atoms, any molecules at the surface, those are going to be influenced by the electric field, right? So as the electric field oscillates, you expect that those charges to get polarized and depolarized repeatedly, and then likewise with the magnetic dipoles that result from that, likewise the magnetic dipoles that could also be there will be under an oscillating magnetic field. So then, likewise, that can generate its own current, I guess. So therefore, you can expect there to be a charge or current at the surface when an electromagnetic field is hitting matter, but it won't be free surface or it won't be free surface charge or current, because it's well, why not actually? Oh, it's because we're not in a conductor, so they're locked in place. So while they exist, they're locked in place, and then the equations that we're using we specifically derived them such that they don't require knowledge of the bound current and charge. It's definitely understand. Yeah, no worries. It's basically to say, well, anyway. So the back and forth, the wiping movement was actually magnetic dipoles oscillating. That's what he was showing with his hands. I'll take the compliment, but I mean, if you didn't get the explanation, then clearly the explanation wasn't good enough. And then second, also, if I really did understand this material well, then then I wouldn't be retaking this class. I wouldn't be streaming, and I also wouldn't be retaking this class if I actually did understand the material well. So sometimes reality is just kind of like, yeah, fuck you. Sometimes reality is just gives you the middle finger, you know. Okay, there. So that's the end of that lecture recording. Let's go back to what I was actually going to look at then. Yeah. Honestly, getting a little tired. Let's try it. Okay, so. Well, let's see. What was I even talking about? We'll talk about short-term memory. I think I can give you a slightly better explanation, though. Let's see. Yeah. So I think the slightly better explanation is you got a material, right? So and that's going to have atoms or molecules or whatever in them. And so it makes sense that and you know, we'll assume it's some kind of stable compound or some stable material. So you know, from chemistry and stuff, you're aware that these atoms have you know a positively charged nucleus and then electrons around it, and then overall they're, you know, maybe they chain together to form a molecule, but whatever the case is, that in order to be stable, these plus minus charges balance out. So then if you put that in an electric field, that is, you know, the electric kind of what you would say the voltage or the electric potential is different across some region, and let's say you put your material in that, right? So you can think of it in terms of voltage. You could think of it in terms of just this kind of generic, or this kind of you know, this ambiguous quantity that is electric potential. Is different. You know, it's like it's higher on one side, it's lower on the other side. And then, you know, if you consider what does a charged what does a charged particle do in an electric field, just by definition, you can say that it goes towards, you know, it's attracted towards the opposite charge, right? So a proton is going to get pulled to the lower end of an electric potential, like a region with this electric potential, and a negatively charged one is going to get pulled towards the higher end. So if you put this material inside this electric field and it's, you know, just going one way, or the field's going, you know, just in some direction, and you put your charged molecule in, or you put your stable molecule in there, then you'll naturally expect that what used to be stable is going to get like stretched, right? It's got, you know, electrons that get pulled one way, and then towards the higher side of the potential because that's relatively positive, right? And then you have like the protons in that molecule that'll all get slightly pulled to the lower side of the potential, which is, you know, relatively negative, you know. So then what you end up with is you've got this kind of molecule that's overall it's supposed to be neutral, but it's been like stretched to the point that the positivity of it and the negativity of it, so to speak, don't like overlap as perfectly as it used to. So then you can say that this molecule is partially positive and like partially negative, you know, when you put it in this field and you kind of force it to stretch out. So that's this. So you could call that then an electric dipole. There's poles. There's a positive pole and a negative pole, or rather a partially positive pole and a partially negative pole. So yeah. So then we just talked about a static magnetic or a static electric field. Like that's what happens if you just plop this molecule into a static electric field. But then what if that electric field like is like a wave? What if it oscillates over time? Then you're like stretching and then it undoing the stretching and then stretching and then undoing the stretching and stretching and undoing the stretching, right? So you've got this like stretching, this kind of, not only is the field changing over time, but now your molecule is also kind of like jiggling around with it. And that jiggling, well, what is the best way to phrase it? So when that jiggles, you could say that there's like a displacement in the, or what's the best one to say? Basically, on the extreme ends of that jiggle, where the molecule gets really stretched apart, you could say that there's a charge, right? If you on the extreme end of that jiggle, if you like took one little like chunk of the material and you kind of looked at it really carefully and you kind of zoomed in closer and closer, you could say that it's suddenly, you know, during the jiggle, it either turns like suddenly positive or like suddenly negative, right? Depending on which side of the molecule you're looking at. So then you could say there's a charge there now. What used to be neutral briefly has like a charge to it, right? So then you could say that if you're hitting something with this electromagnetic field or something and it's oscillating, then you should expect there'd be like a charge to show up briefly as it's kind of jiggling back and forth, you know, if you just look at one side of the jiggle. So that was the whole thing about isn't there a charge at the surface when you shine like a light at a boundary, at like a surface? Like, shouldn't there be a charge there then? Or why can you necessarily say there is or isn't a charge there? And, you know, you could say there is a charge, but the caveat is that unlike a conductor, that charge, you're only stretching the molecule. You're not like literally ripping it apart. Like, you know, with if you put dissolved salt in water, right? You can say that, or if you've seen, you know, we model it as the sodium literally separates from the chlorine. It's like literally separated. They turn into ions, right? So it's not like that where they just literally like are just like goodbye, you know. In the case we just talked about, the molecule just gets stretched a little bit, you know. So it's still stuck there in that spot on the surface. It's not free to flow over wherever it wants. And that's why we call these things bound charges, right? They're stuck in their spot. Those charges do show up, but they're stuck. And then we have formulas that we've intentionally fiddled with such that they don't care about those bound charges, because otherwise then we'd have to worry about those bound charges. Those would come into our calculations here and there, and they do. But we've chose to form our equations such that we don't have to worry about those bound charges. And like, what is the benefit of that? How those bound charges work is contingent on the type of material you have, right? Like how much like a molecule like separates given some like standard field you would expect to be different depending on what kind of molecule you have, right? Like if you have a really long molecule, like you would expect it to be easier to like or really like stretch, you know, like there's like stretchy molecules you can imagine. There's like long kind of like chains. Like you'd expect that to stretch a lot easier than say a really compact, really, you know, molecule, right? So then you would have to, in order to use these equations, and if these equations did have the bound charge in there as like a variable, then in order to use our equations for you know, predicting how waves propagate and stuff, we need to know all the properties of the material we're going through ahead of time, which is kind of stupid, right? Because let's say you're trying to invent like a new material or something, or you do discover a new material and you want to model it. It's like, well, in order to model it, I need to know the properties of it, but I don't. In order to know the properties of it, I need to know how the wave propagates through it in the first place. You know, like it's you end up stuck in this catch-22 where it's like you need to know information in order to know the information that you need to know the information. So it's like, so that's why it's convenient not to have these equations such that you don't care about the bound charge or the bound current. And I can talk about the bound current, but you know, it's kind of a similar formulation where you say, you know, if you put the molecule in a field, or you know, I guess with the bound current, the way you can visualize it, or what is the best way to visualize it? I guess you just model it as the proton and the electron spinning around it. So then the spinning electron has this kind of like loop that it's going through, right? So you'd argue that loop is well, anyway. So the point is, you know, I'll think of a better explanation in the future. But the long story short is, that's why we make this distinction of bound versus free charges, because yeah. So the TLDR is that. These bound charges, or we can kind of imagine things, or the way we kind of visualize things is that, you know, these charges can either be bound in the sense that they're stuck in place, or they aren't, in which case they're kind of free to move along the entire material. And by making this distinction, it's a way of like making the calculations convenient, is really what it is. And it makes sense that you know, these charges could be bound or could be free because, you know, as we said, in the case of like a solid or something, or depending on the type of solid you have, you can, you know, what do you call it? Yeah, like you know, if you, again, the whole thing with like dissolving salt in water, right? That's a case where, yeah, you can totally see there being like free charges that are kind of free to move about. And then I guess you kind of have to assume that a conductor, like metals, like a conductor, right, let their surface charge, or let charges kind of just flow throughout. I guess that's kind of a leap of faith that you have to make. And then to explain that, I guess you'd have to draw, or yeah, what is the best way to explain that, I wonder? Because let's see, so the reason why a metal is a conductor has to do with like energy bands, right? And actually, yeah, wait, now that I think about it, where does that come from? I feel like it's so basic, I haven't really thought about it that deeply. But right, yeah, why is a metal a conductor? Or a semiconductor, or whatever, right? One way we quantify it is like the energy levels, right? But I feel like I've heard the explanation and then I just totally forgot or something. Because that's pretty basic. What is it? Why is a metal? Well, anyway. anyway. So in order to just end, or just to close up that conversation or that topic, it's a matter of the professor was just making a distinction between our case, in which there are no bound charges, versus, you know, the case if there were, or if there, sorry, our case where there are only bound charges, or there are only bound charges, and he wanted to make the distinction between this case versus the case where we have, in addition to these bound charges, which honestly is like as if we don't care, this situation versus if there were free charges. Because if there are free charges, our calculations shift slightly, because one of the equations we use does require, or does take that in free charges into account. That becomes a relevant quantity. Yeah. Anyway, let me just go to the next lecture. Yeah, I'm just going back through all my lecture notes, and and either rewriting them or, you know, basically rewriting them, yeah. 14th, yeah. I'm almost caught up. Do you need water? I think I need a break is more of anything. I got water right here, though. What I really want is the, like the sports drink powder. But... yeah. But there's a specific brand that I like that I have a hard time getting in the U.S. So I'm a little picky about the sports drinks. You know, it's got to be Pocari Sweat or Aquarius. I actually lean more towards Aquarius than Pocari Sweat, but it's somewhat difficult to get the powder form of it in the U.S. So yeah. Might go for a walk or something, though. Alright, let's just keep going. There we go. You.
Hey,
What'd you end up getting?
Thai basil.
Nice.
Could I
Hmm?
grab a Coke?
Yeah, I think I put some in. Yeah, there should be some.
I'll bring some
Okay.
Coke tomorrow.
Actually, wait, I put those in this morning. Are they cold? You're good? Okay, cool.
I have a stash of Coke at home.
Nice.
So,
I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be. Yeah, I realize it's unhealthy to be constantly drinking Coke, but yeah.
I'll bring some.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Well, at least not until I finish using up this the Costco size. I think it's like half left, or a little less
Okay.
than half.
Just let me know when it's running out.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and also it goes on my EBT card, so you know.
Still.
Yeah, actually, the thing I didn't realize until. Oh, sorry. You can go ahead and go and like heat that up or whatever.
No, I was just gonna do some worthwhile eating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sounds good. All I was gonna say is that I didn't realize, but if you pay within the EBT card, bags become free too.
Bags?
Yeah, like so I got.
Shit.
Yeah, I forgot to take my reusable bags with me today when I went down to Walgreens. So I was like, oh, and I was trying to use the card, and I was like, oh shoot.
Do I need to pay for the bags?
Yeah, well, so what happened was that I did the transaction, and then, you know, I was like, oh, by the way, can I pay with my ABT card? And then they were like, oh yeah, she would have told me earlier, and then they had to kind of redo something. So I assumed what they were doing was they were going to take the charge of the bags off, and then so I could pay for them afterwards on a separate transaction. So then I did it, and then I was just, they were like, okay, here you go, and I was like, how do I pay for the bags? And they're like, you don't.
You don't.
Yeah, I was like, they were like, you don't, and I'm like,
Oh.
okay.
Nice.
Yeah, like awesome. And it wasn't even, yeah, they said specifically that if you pay with your EBT card, I guess disposable bags are free. So I was like,
Damn.
yeah, like
Okay.
awesome, right? Yeah.
That
I mean,
makes
obviously it's like what, 20 cents, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you streaming?
Oh yeah, here. Right now it's just me, so yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, yeah, have good luck with you're doing the, what do you call it, the thing you're gonna send, right? Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, cool. Good luck. Let me get another water. ちょっと水飲みすぎたな。Oh, if you're looking for your cute anime girl with a cute anime voice, sorry to disappoint. If you get this, feel free to stay. How do I pronounce this username? Um, Edirk? Edirk? I don't know. I'll just say Eddie. Eddie, okay, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, Eddie. So, yeah, no, this is just a lecture recording. I kind of wanted to go through my lecture notes and kind of clean things up, or basically I've been rewriting most of them, but so this is just a recording. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm studying. So if that sounds, well, I don't think it sounds interesting to anyone, but if you also have something to study, then feel free to work on it as well, or not, or yeah, whatever. And if you're not interested then at all, then no, nothing personal, no hard feelings, right? I get most people don't come to Twitch to study, so anyway, yes, I'm just gonna keep studying. Or I had a late lunch, so yeah, I'll keep studying for a bit longer, and then maybe I'll go for lunch, or lunch, no, dinner. Sorry. Man, today's all messed up. So it's like ASMR. I mean, unfortunately, I can't really do much about the noise. There's probably a fan. There's probably fan sounds in the background too. Mainly because I'm on campus. I'm in an office right now, but I what do you call it? Facilities turns off the the AC on weekends to save power, so I have to crack open the door and run a fan in the background, so you can probably hear that. So I guess if you're okay with that extra noise, then take pauses or something. Oh yeah, I mean, this is just a recording, right? So Yeah. Or wait, is that not what you mean? I don't know. You know, well, I wouldn't really jump to conclusions. I'm sure you can find something else, some other hobbies that are a little more interesting. But I mean, I guess to maybe provide some context, this stream is really just productivity streams, right? So it's not always studying. Sometimes I'm sure if I dig through my archives or my VODs. There's some stuff about like practicing drawing and some programming and some other stuff here and there, but yeah, just a productivity stream is just a way to kind of get stuff done, right? So some people use the stream as a way to also get stuff done. Some people are, I can say for sure, I'm sure one person is in or playing Fortnite right now. In fact, let me check. Am I right? Let's see. Oh, no, they're actually offline. Okay, so I got that wrong. Yeah, so, I mean, I never answered that question, did I? Sorry about that. It's because I don't have permission to publish or to I guess, distribute class material, right? So I could request permission, but it's more of a hassle than it's worth, right? So also like so there are times when I'll pop open like I think MIT, for example, has a lot of free lectures on YouTube. So when I watch those, I'll disable the blur, but if not that, then or if it's class material and I haven't explicitly gotten permission to publish the content, which I never really do, then it's honestly just easier to blur it. Yeah. TLDR, I'm just lazy. I just don't want to bother getting permission every time. Yeah. Well, I think there's something better. I don't know what your work schedule is, but if it's 4 a.m., I think the thing that you have the better thing to do is like sleep, right? I don't know. I like sleeping. School tomorrow. Yeah, that. I mean, I feel like that. I mean, that's adding or that's helping my point, is it not? I mean, sleeping is a way of being productive. I know you're catching up on sleep, right? I feel like that qualifies as being productive. So maybe your productivity for this productivity stream is to go to sleep. Get a drink. Hopefully I don't give myself water poisoning. Don't like sleeping? Man, I've never heard of anyone that doesn't like sleeping. Like, I know people that get, little sleep. And I know there are people that like can power nap and stuff. But man, I've never heard of anyone that just dislikes sleeping. Like, what do you do in that case? Do you just like drink caffeine all of your life? Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure, yeah, maybe just find something to work on or just lay there or, I don't know, roll around, do push-ups. I don't know. What do you think? Never had any coffee. I mean, I guess that's good. If judging by all the sleep deprived grad students that you see in lecture, or rather, teaching, or graduate student instructors that are teaching, classes, right? Like, judging by how sleep deprived they are, it's definitely, too much coffee can definitely be a little bit of a bad thing. Or is that because of coffee, or is it because they're sleep deprived? I wonder. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Oh yeah, let me just hide VTube Studio. It always gets a little wonky when you get out of frame. I mean, I know what I really should do is I should hire the person who I commissioned the rigging for or commissioned to do the. I should just ask them to like add like a sleeping motion or something. Sorry, but I'll be right back. One sec. Yeah, I drank way too much water. Why? That's I don't think it's. I don't know. Is there a mean way to ask that? I don't know. I think it's a fine question. Right? I think it's fine as a question, right? I mean the real. Or let me turn the tracking back on. Is that? No, I don't want to change the locate. There we go. I mean the really fundamental and the I guess the answer to that is because it is, but as maybe a more helpful answer, a more helpful answer would probably be, like the reality is like, this is obviously an opinion, but of like VTubing gives you a lot of freedom, right? Like the software, if you've opened Cubism, I don't know if you've played with Cubism at all, but it's the software that Live2D. It's the Live2D software that lets you like rig these models and such, and there's no restriction on why on what kind of character you can make. So I remember there was a very funny one that I saw where someone made a non-Euclidean like I can't remember. It was like I say it's hard to describe because it's non-Euclidean. You can't really call it an orb or like a sphere, right? Because it's non-Euclidean, so it doesn't have a typical surface, right? But the default shape of it was kind of like a sphere, and the motions that you would normally associate with like tilting left and right were these weird like 4D-ish changes and stuff. And like so the software gives you all that absolute freedom, and it's like, given all of that absolute freedom, I don't know about you, but like it's like why would you choose to be a guy? I mean, cute anime girls are where it's at. Am I wrong? There's a reason why, there's a reason why like Moe Blob has been popular for the past like decade or two. I mean, like, and am I above that, or am like, is that like under me? No, like I totally agree. I watched K-On! And I watched Laid Back Camp and stuff and whatever, and it's like so like if you were to ask a question like what kind of model you would want. I feel like it's kind of natural to say like cute anime girl. Am I wrong? That's really all there is to it. It's like, with all the freedom that you get to like choose, like why would you choose to be a guy? Obviously, that's maybe the point of contention, or maybe that's the arguing point. But it's like, yeah, or maybe that's the thing. Offended very easy now. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to point fingers, or I don't want to, name anyone specific, but I mean, if you go to my Twitter, you can see how inactive I am on Twitter, and I maybe this is what's gonna make me go viral, and I'm gonna get like canceled or whatever, but I just I would, I'm fine with my little corner of Twitch, just studying. I don't need to deal with all that stuff out there. Yeah, but no, I agree. There's some people that get offended very easily. Not that they shouldn't, obviously, right? But like, I think there are things where it's kind of like the side effect of being more, what do you call it, open to, or trying to be more aware of various, people's various circumstances and such. I think like one of the side effects of trying to increase that kind of awareness of those kind of things is that no, I don't want to get on too much of a sidetrack, but yeah, people get offended very easily these days. Sometimes for good reason. I feel like very often it's like, a little excessive. Anyway, studying for? This is just class. There's a midterm in about a month, and, well, just in general, I'm a little behind, or I guess part of it's that I'm behind a little bit. The other is that I feel like I don't really understand what's going on, so I just kind of went back through all the lectures and retook notes, essentially. Because my lecture notes from, when I was watching these lectures in person, right, didn't really help. So I'm like, well, if my lecture notes don't help, I guess it means I need to rewrite them, right? But the class is electromagnetism and optics. It's a second semester undergraduate electromagnetism and optics. So it's like Griffith. Is it Griffiths? What is it? It's Griffiths. Yeah, so think like Griffiths Intro to Electrodynamics, and then chapter, I think, after chapter 7, everything after chapter 7. I don't have the patience to study. I mean, neither do I. Why do you think I'm streaming? If I had the patience to study, like, why would I force myself to stream in order to make sure I study? Yeah. Like, if I was... People, like people get the wrong idea. I don't study because I'm good at this. I study because I don't study and stream because I'm good at all these things. I'm study and stream because I'm bad at them. If I was good at them, I would just be like, I'd just go to the bar, right? Like, I'm on campus. Who would want to waste time like sitting in an office studying for like N hours a day? No, I'd go to the bar and get like blackout drunk. But unfortunately, I'm not that smart, so we have to rewrite lecture notes and all this shit. I mean, I don't think I'd literally get blackout drunk, but but there's plenty of more fun things to do. How old are you? I don't think I've ever specified. Uh, I mean, it's something you can kind of infer at some point, but, wait, am I lagging? Or, I mean, I guess I'm not dropping frames, so I wonder what that was. Anyway, um, yeah, I mean, I guess my answer is don't think too hard about it. You know, I'm a VTuber, right? Or I'm supposed to be a VTuber. I say that even though I don't have like any content on my YouTube channel, of course, but I'm a VTuber, right? So I'm supposed to stay in character and all that jazz. But what I'll say is don't think too hard about it. No lag. Okay, yeah, I wonder what that was. It looked like it. I don't know if it's maybe my screen here is just a little bad. Is that N1 over N2? Yeah, it's N1 over N2. So don't say there. No, I think they do. It's just, you know, there's multiple people with different stances. Like, if we take from Hololive, just because that's the one I'm most familiar with, Toki no Sora, the first cover corporation's first VTuber, right? She ages normally, so I think she turned 21 recent. Well, how old is she actually? But then on the other hand, you have people like Hosho Marin who are 17 season 4 or something. I don't know what season it is now, but or yeah. So it's not really specified, but the reason why I'm not sharing that is just purely because I never specified I don't have enough of a setting to really specify that. So I just leave it as not applicable, or not applicable isn't right, because that suggests that age as a concept doesn't apply, but yeah. I guess this entire quantity is squared. Jeez, the text is so small. I guess that must be n1 over n2 squared. Excuse me. Oh, they factor out an I. Okay. Oh, okay. Understand. Well, I mean, I guess, and this is something I think that's very important in general, but I guess the answer is, so the answer to your first question is they don't say their age. That's not true, right? That VTubers, depending on who they are, will say their age. So, I mean, the answer is that some do. So then maybe the question then, so the natural question after that is, so then why do the people that don't not say their age. And actually, no, you can, because I guess you can kind of break it up into 3 categories, right? So there are VTubers with ages, and then VTubers without ages. And what I mean by without ages, I lump that into, or I lump both VTubers that don't state their age and VTubers for which the setting specifies that they do not have the concept of age doesn't apply to them, right? So let's just maybe address the first category, which is VTubers that do just state their age. And then within VTubers that do state their age, there are VTubers that that age normally, and then VTubers that don't age, right? So there are VTubers that age normally, like again, I said Toki no Sora earlier, so she's I think like 21 or 22 now. And then there's also, even within the same agency, or the same talent agency, there's people, there's individuals for which they've been 17 since they debuted, and they're, it doesn't quite make sense because, how can they be celebrating their 3rd or 4th anniversary and still be 17, right? But we don't talk about that, right? And then, so on and so forth. The same thing applies to the cases where age isn't specified, whether it's because they don't mention it or the concept, according to the character settings, the concept doesn't apply. And then, so the question then becomes, why, right? Why then, why does a VTuber not age? And in some cases, why does a VTuber not age in the case where they state the same age for multiple years? And then for other cases, it's, why don't they state their age if it's not specified? And then the one more case is, why is there no concept of age for some VTubers? And the total, and the simple answer to all those is because it is, right? There isn't a particular reason, right? Like you can make up any number of reasons, but the real reason I think for most people is just that that there isn't a reason. In the same way, there isn't a reason that you have to specify your age. There isn't a reason that you have to not specify your age. And I'm sure, there's plenty of, reasons you could retroactively justify. But fundamentally speaking, right, like, it's not like a VTuber is going to, like, spontaneously explode if they share their age or not. Yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. I think it's one of those things where, like, I agree. It's like, it's there's no reason. So it makes, it's like, well then, how is there not a reason? But I mean, I think there's a lot of things in the world that don't really have a particular reason, right? So, and then, you just have to treat it as one of those things, or rather, you don't have to treat it as one of those things, but people are treating it as one of those things. So, I mean, you can, people can try to dig further, and they can do stuff like, oh, well, if I, dig up personal information about this individual, I can figure out their personal information, I can dig up their birth certificate, and then I can figure out what their age is. But, that's where it's one of those things where, it's effectively doxing if they share that information. But, it's one of those things where, well, you haven't really uncovered the age of the character in that case. You've just uncovered the age of the person who voices that character or who plays that character. Right. So it doesn't address the fundamental question, that is, what is, so-and-so VTuber's age, in the case that they don't share it. Right. So I think you say you don't understand it, but I think if I had to speculate, what it really is that you don't see that there's a reason, and that's the correct interpretation. I think fundamentally there is no reason. There is no, like, universal reason. It's not like a constant of the universe that says VTubers, don't say their age because this reason. And, the reality is that there's a lot of stuff like that in the world. Air Force. Okay, sorry. Basically, I think you say you don't understand, but that's, I think, all that there is to it. You don't understand, but I don't think it's something that is understood. It just is. Is it, it isn't something that is understood. It just is the way it is because it is. And I think that's all there is to it, really, at the end of the day. All am going to get back to studying, though. They say they don't, or they meant to change the stupid. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the idea. There's various things, you know. Yeah, there's various ways people address it. YouTuber teacher. I mean, I don't have a teaching degree, so I don't think I should. I don't think I should. Yeah. But I don't mind talking, you know. I can talk. That's why I'm a VTuber, right? Or else if I didn't like talking, I wouldn't stream. Yeah. I guess I don't really. Anyway, I won't talk about not too much. Back in. Well, I mean, if you gotta go, you gotta go. It is what it is. But yeah. Thanks for coming by. Take care. Stay safe. Have a good evening. Again, if you want to pop by again, feel free to. I usually stream. Well, I don't actually usually stream at this time, so maybe that's not super feasible in the future. But whenever you feel like it, yeah. Or if you feel like it. Anyway, yeah. Go do what you gotta do. Yeah. See ya. Let's go to. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I don't know when this part of the lecture ends, and probably want to get Darren before I start the usual time stream. So yeah, everyone that came by, thanks for coming by, although I think there's no one else left, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to probably grab dinner, and then, because I had a little bit of late breakfast, or late lunch, so I'm not that hungry. Anyway, I'm gonna take a break, so yeah. Yeah, and I'll probably stream later today. Oh yeah.